On the eve of our wedding, a celebration was held with both families present. Suddenly remembering something, I returned to the apartment I shared with my fiancé, Michael. As I was about to knock on the bathroom door, I overheard Michael talking with his sister, Yvonne. Why is Yvonne in our bathroom? There's only one conclusion. She's great as a housekeeper and ATM. Just flatter him a bit, and she does whatever I say. Our parents always favored me, so she's starved for affection. Poor thing. I contacted Michael's family home, arranged to connect their mobile phone to the TV, and then followed the two of them as they headed to the bedroom. I waited for the start of the second round and then began the live commentary. Everyone, look at this. A fiancé getting involved with his sister-in-law, and the sister stealing her sibling's man. They're like beasts in a zoo, a pair of rare animals. Michael and Yvonne looked at me in shock. In my heart, I declared war on Michael and Yvonne. They've both thoroughly mocked me. Don't think for a moment that you'll get through tomorrow unscathed. My name is Kelly, a 42-year-old office worker. I was about to marry my colleague Michael. Actually, I divorced 10 years ago due to my ex-husband's infidelity and thought I was done with marriage. However, a few years ago, I started working on the same team as Michael and was instantly charmed by his smile. With leadership qualities, a love for jokes, and a straightforward nature, Michael was the complete opposite of me, serious and not very articulate. Lacking confidence in myself, I never thought we would end up together. So, I was quite surprised when he asked me out. Even accepting his proposal, I felt a mix of happiness and anxiety. Maybe it was pre-wedding jitters, but my intuition was right. After a while, something extraordinary happened. I have a sister, Yvonne, 2 years older than me. While it's common for siblings to be compared, it was especially bad in our case. From birth, it seemed like I had bad luck. My father, wanting a son, exclaimed, "We don't need another girl," when he found out his second child was also a daughter. My mother told me this wasn't any better. My father, who desired a boy, adored Yvonne as she resembled our beautiful mother. Even my mother, who dressed Yvonne up for my birthday parties, was more focused on her than me. Yvonne charmed not just our parents but everyone around her. People would compare us and then pity me. "You're playing compared to your sister, you don't resemble your mother, poor thing, always overshadowed by your sister, if only you were born prettier." Our grandmother, who raised us while our self-employed parents were busy, treated us equally. Thanks to her, I managed to stay on the right path. But once she passed away, I had no allies at home. Even if Yvonne broke something, she would be forgiven with just a teary apology. In my case, I was scolded harshly. When Yvonne lied and got caught, our father gently admonished her. Such lies are easily caught. But when the 5-year-old me lied, he yelled furiously. "You're the worst kind of person. Liars don't belong in our house. Get out right now." Though I wasn't thrown out, I spent some time in fear of being abandoned by my father. Meanwhile, my mother would sigh as she dressed us in matching outfits. "You're not as cute as your sister, why don't these look good on you?" Being treated like this by our parents, it was no wonder Yvonne grew up spoiled. By upper elementary school, our relationship was more like master and servant. "I want ice cream. Buy it for me now. After I finish my homework." "I don't care about that. Hurry up." Complaining to our parents made me the bad one. "Just buy her the ice cream. Listen to your sister." And Yvonne only showed her true self in front of me, acting sweet in front of our parents, friends, and teachers. So, no one but me knew Yvonne was a liar, cunning, and spoiled. Sometimes, Yvonne would look at me with pity and smirk. Poor Kelly. Always compared even when doing the same things. Born to the same parents, but I'm the princess, and you're the servant. Is life even fun for you? I was so angry, but instead of retorting, I tried to earn praise from our parents through study and sports. I was always top of the class and won many awards in track and field. But instead of being pleased, my father ridiculed me. "An accomplished woman is unseemly. If only you were cute like Yvonne." Fed up with everyone fawning over Yvonne, I finally found an ally. One day in middle school, Yvonne's best friend, Angie, stormed into our house, furious. She had caught Yvonne flirting with her boyfriend behind the school and confronted her, only for Yvonne to be defiant. She said, "Well, I thought he suited me better. He likes me more than Angie too. Sorry. I had no idea she was like that. We're done." Angie, crying and angry, I could only apologize profusely. "I'm sorry my sister did such a terrible thing. You were always so nice to her. It's awful." "Don't apologize, Kelly. If Yvonne ever bullies you, tell me. I'm on your side." That was the start of our messaging and friendship. Even after going to different high schools, we stayed close, meeting for lunch on weekends. Desperate to escape my suffocating home, I went to a university with dorms on a scholarship. Finally away from my sister, I thrived in college and landed a job at a major corporation. A few years later, I married a colleague. But within a year, he inexplicably asked for a divorce. Despite my asking, he never clearly explained why, and we parted ways. I thought I was done with marriage, but after 10 years, I felt lonely being single. Growing up in a family where I was discriminated against, I longed to create a happy home. I hoped to remarry if I found the right person. That's when I met Michael. When I took Michael to my parents' house, my parents, who are concerned about appearances, seemed quite pleased with the high-spec Michael. Graduated from a national university, working at a large corporation. While they dismissed me as unladylike despite having the same status, they couldn't stop praising Michael. Relieved that my Carl was well received by my parents, I was caught off guard when Yvonne returned home. Yvonne, still a single part-timer living at her parents' house without contributing financially even in her 40s, was known to spend her Friday nights out and about. That's why we chose to have the meeting on a Friday, thinking she wouldn't be home. But, just this once, she decided to come home early. After hearing about the meeting from our parents, Yvonne must have rushed home straight from her part-time job, intending to charm Michael. "Nice to meet you, I'm Yvonne, Kelly's sister." Yvonne greeted us in a sweet voice, and Michael blushed and froze. This reaction was typical, so I was used to it. But Michael didn't just gaze at Yvonne, he started chatting non-stop. "Wow, you are super beautiful." Shocked by his behavior, Michael then chided me. "Kelly, why didn't you introduce me sooner? If I knew she was this beautiful, I would have wanted to meet her earlier." "Really? I thought both of you were busy." "Normally, you wouldn't go out of your way to introduce your sister, right?" As Michael compared me and Yvonne, his excitement apparent, he said. "You two don't look alike at all. Were you adopted or something, Kelly?" Everyone else, except for me, burst into loud laughter. "Yvonne looks like a movie star." "Thank you. You're quite handsome yourself, Michael." Yvonne's flattery made Michael's ears turn red. "I'm nothing special." "But Yvonne, you have such class and shine. If I marry Kelly, I get to call such a beauty my sister-in-law. I have to introduce her to my friends. They'll be so jealous." Michael kept talking dreamily. "Yvonne's skin is so fair, like it's translucent. Kelly, you look older by comparison. Oh, drinking with beauty, this is life. Michael, you have good taste. Michael, please take good care of Yvonne." My parents' words left me dumbfounded. Michael's behavior was odd, but so were my parents' reactions. Usually, parents would be upset if their daughter's fiancé praised the sister like that. Yet, my parents were beaming with joy, clearly delighted. "Michael, that was awful. Praising my sister in front of me." On the way home, I complained in the car, and Michael looked puzzled. "It's a fact that Yvonne is beautiful, isn't it?" "Yes, but..." "You know I'm honest and say what I think. I get restless keeping things inside." Michael showed no remorse, and I frowned. "I know that, but there's a limit." "What's the problem? You hate secrets, right?" "Just stop praising my sister in front of me. It makes me feel bad." "Okay, I get it." However, Michael soon forgot my request. Even after we set a wedding date, he kept bringing up Yvonne, comparing us, and incessantly praising her.
If you like my sister so much, why don't you marry her?
Frustrated, I snapped, and Michael hurriedly explained. Sorry. Yvonne is my type, so But I want to marry you, Kelly. I was drawn to your homely charm. He said this with a laugh. Kelly is great at cooking and cleaning. I'm really bad at that stuff, so it's a huge help. After getting engaged, Michael, who lived alone, moved into my apartment. We're getting married soon, so let's live together, he insisted, starting our cohabitation forcefully. He does pay half the rent and living expenses, but he never helps with the housework, leaving it all to me. I work full-time too, with overtime and sometimes working on weekends. Yet, when I come home tired, Michael lounges on the couch, playing with his phone, glancing at me. Welcome back. Dinner ready yet? I asked you to bring in the laundry. You were off today, right? Michael scratches his head. Did you ask me that? Sorry, I forgot. I wanted to relax a bit. I'll help out after we're married. We plan to both work after getting married. Will he really help with the housework? His attitude makes me uncertain, but I didn't want to argue before the wedding, so I didn't push too hard. The night before our wedding, I received a call from Michael's parents. They wanted to have a pre-wedding celebration and asked me to bring my family to their house. I was a bit worried. For the past few months, Michael suddenly became very busy at work. Lots of overtime, business trips, and working on weekends. He mostly comes home late at night. Even on weekends, he works one day or the other. We work at the same company, but in different departments. It's not the busy season, so why is he so busy? I can't complain if it's work-related. Luckily, all the wedding preparations were done. I'm happy about the invitation, but I might get home late because of overtime. If that happens, you can start without me. Got it. I'll make sure to save some of your favorite meatloaf for you, so don't worry and focus on your work. The day before, Michael had this conversation with his mother over the phone. I informed my parents, but my father seemed indifferent. His dad is a good talker, and we're fans of the same baseball team. I'm looking forward to talking about baseball. He just wants to drink and have fun under the guise of his daughter's wedding. Well, it's better if the parents get along. I don't particularly like my parents, but Michael's seem nice, and they seem to get along, which was a relief. On the day of the pre-wedding celebration, I received a message from Michael. He had to stay late for unexpected work. When I told Michael's parents, my mom suddenly remembered. By the way, Yvonne is also running late because of her part-time job. That's unusual, I thought. Normally, she'd leave work early, not caring if someone called in sick. Soon, both sets of parents were toasting with beer and wine, surrounding the big platter of meatloaf, chatting happily. After setting aside some for Michael, I picked mine onto a small plate. Then I remembered something crucial. I completely forgot to revise the speech notes that a bride reads to her parents. I didn't really want to do it because my feelings of resentment towards my parents were stronger than my gratitude. But my mother insisted on including that part in the ceremony, so I reluctantly added it. When I started writing, it turned into complaints about how my parents discriminated against Yvonne and me. If I read it as it is tomorrow, it would dampen the mood. I need to force some words of gratitude. Before drinking, I should revise it here. I sneakily left Michael's parents' house and returned to the apartment we shared. Looking up from the parking lot, I saw the bathroom light on. Michael must be taking a shower before coming over. Thinking this, I went up to our apartment in the elevator. Not wanting to startle him, I thought I'd announce my return. As I walked down the hallway and was about to knock on the bathroom door, I heard Michael's voice. I'm gonna miss you during the honeymoon. I'll miss you too, Michael. I almost shouted out loud. Why is Yvonne in our bathroom with Michael? There's only one conclusion. They're having an affair. I felt like I was going to collapse from shock, but I braced myself against the wall. Then, Michael said with a half smile. Kelly's great as a housekeeper and an ATM. Perfect with housework and earns as much as I do. Simple-minded too, just a little flattery and she does whatever I say. Our parents always favored me, so she's starved for affection. Poor thing. Their tone was mocking, and anger shook through me. If only she were a bit cuter, I'd treat her nicely. She's gotten a lot better than before. That? Seriously? How ugly was she? Michael laughed heartily, and Yvonne replied in her sweet voice. I was embarrassed to introduce her to my friends. But one day, I realized she's perfect as my foil, so I put up with her. I see. But she's smart, you know. Too cheeky. She's good at her job too. Well, she wouldn't have any value otherwise. Oh, right. Their laughter and Yvonne's excited voice filled me with deep anger. I didn't get smart by chance, I worked hard. And at work, I learned everything I could. How could they not see that while living with me? In my heart, I declared war on Michael and Yvonne. They've both completely belittled me. Don't think tomorrow will come without incident. After a while, Yvonne's uninhibited voice drifted down the hallway. I turned the doorknob of the bathroom, thankfully unlocked. I quietly entered, searching for Michael and Yvonne's cell phones. Both were unlocked, so I looked for evidence of their affair, sending it to my phone. I also recorded their amorous sounds and sent them with a message to certain people. Eventually, their voices stopped. I stepped out into the hallway and hid behind a houseplant, holding my breath. Yvonne, carried out of the bathroom in Michael's arms, laughed joyously. Kelly's probably stuffing herself with meatloaf right now, unaware I'm in Michael's arms. What a fool. Cheating on the night before the wedding is the best. Such a thrill. I could get addicted.
Hey, don't you dare cheat with another woman. Come on, I'm only into you, Yvonne.
Their banter made my stomach churn, but I restrained myself and waited for them to enter the bedroom. I followed quietly and pressed my ear against the door. It sounded like they were starting round two. Their energetic voices filled the hallway. I wanted to cover my ears but waited for a response from my parents. Finally, the phone rang.
Kelly, what was all that?
Just what you heard. Yvonne and Michael are having an affair. I could hear Michael's parents' cries of shock over the speaker.
Our Yvonne wouldn't do such a thing. Surely you're mistaken, Kelly. Come back and make some snacks.
My mother spoke disinterestedly behind my father. My boiling blood suddenly went cold. Not again. To my parents, Yvonne always seems like a gentle, adorable angel, no matter her age. It's always me who's wrong. I sighed heavily and clenched my fists. Until now, I hadn't argued back to avoid conflict, but this time, I couldn't back down. With a quiet anger, I told my father. So what are you saying? That I made all this up? My father seemed caught off guard by my challenge.
No, I'm not saying that. Kelly, how can you speak to your father like that?
Just connect it to the TV already. Kelly, it's connected. Michael's parents had stepped in to help, replacing my reluctant parents. Do we just wait like this? Yes, thank you. I'll start the live broadcast now. I hung up the phone and, like a TV show host, began to speak into the mic. Let's storm into the scene of Michael Turner and Yvonne Johnson's affair. Bang! I opened the bedroom door and aimed my phone camera at the bed. The two, caught in the act, stared at me, frozen. Look, everyone. The man who cheats with his bride's sister on the eve of their wedding, and the woman who stole her sister's fiancé. A pair of beasts that would make even zoo animals blush. Michael and Yvonne scrambled for the sheet. Yvonne snatched it away, leaving Michael to fall off the bed and hurriedly cover himself with a pillow.
No, this isn't what it looks. Well, you see. Michael was just nervous about the wedding tomorrow. I was just comforting him.
Yvonne's strained explanation almost made me laugh. At times like this, I really feel how empty-headed Yvonne is. That's a ridiculous excuse. Do you really think that'll work?
Stop it. Yvonne's done nothing wrong.
Michael snapped at me. Defending your affair partner? Are you saying it's your fault?
It's all your fault.
Michael pointed at me, frothing at the mouth.
If you were prettier, I wouldn't have cheated.
I was speechless. Really? By the way, Michael, did you know? Yvonne didn't fall for you. She went after you because you were mine. She'll dump you soon enough. Michael's eyes widened before he smirked. I get it. You're just jealous. We're not getting married, but we're really in love. As Michael puffed up his chest, I kindly informed him. Yvonne has always enjoyed taking what belongs to others. She seduced and then discarded her friends' boyfriends, one after another. Because of her nasty nature, she doesn't have a single friend left. Right, Angie? Angie, who had entered the bedroom, nodded at my words. Long time no see, Yvonne. Stealing your sister's man, what a great sister you are. Angie's sarcasm made Yvonne purse her lips.
Don't twist my words. I just happened to fall for my sister's fiancé.
When it happens twice, it's no longer a coincidence. Yvonne trembled slightly at my retort. Let me borrow this for a second. I took Yvonne's phone from the bathroom, found a particular image, and showed it to Michael, who looked away. In the image, Yvonne and my ex-husband were wrapped in sheets, cuddling on the bed.
Yvonne, you were also involved with Kelly's ex-husband? It's Kelly and Angie's fault for being losers.
Yvonne defiantly declared. These people, and my friends too, they have no charm as women. That's why when I show interest, men are all drawn to me. They can't even choose a man right. I nodded in agreement. You have a point. I should have chosen someone more sincere. Michael, feeling uncomfortable, looked away.
Hey, Kelly.
Right. The main problem is your looks. Yvonne, now on a roll, laughed annoyingly. Being pretty gets you pampered by men and women alike. Even my parents do whatever I say. My boss at the part-time job even overlooks my fake sick days. Life is easy. I held my forehead and muttered. Poor thing. What? Do you know why Michael chose me over you as a spouse? Because he met you at work, right? Yvonne looked dismissive. He could have switched to you after meeting you. Too much hassle for the parents. Right, Michael? I smiled thinly.
Oh, my phone too.
I will borrow this. I took Michael's phone, showed Yvonne something, and her smile disappeared. Kelly's sister is really pretty. Totally my type. Too bad she's not smarter. A dumb mistress is fine, but a clueless and domestic skill-less wife? No thanks. 42 and still a part-timer, no thanks. Dropped out after 3 days on a difficult job, high school grad. Wants to be a housewife but spends lavishly on brands. No way. Michael turned pale. The message displayed on the screen was one that Michael had sent to a friend. Yvonne's expression turned to anger.
Michael, who do you think you are? You're lucky to be with a beauty like me, don't get cocky. Yvonne, you're pretty but there are lots of beauties around. And at your age, well, a fine lady, oops. Look who's talking, old man.
Let's break up. I'm done with you. Yvonne stood tall, pretending to be strong. I still have my parents. They treat me like a princess. They cook for me every day. I hope they stay healthy and keep cooking. Using aging parents as servants, huh? Typical. You were planning to make Kelly do all the housework after marriage. It's a wife's duty. The argument between Michael and Yvonne escalated. Such outdated views for a working couple. No wonder you're only getting married at this age. Don't need a lecture from an unmarried woman. I addressed them as they began to fight earnestly. Yvonne, are you sure you want to spill all this? What do you mean? The camera's still rolling. The live broadcast to our parents isn't over. What? Yvonne's face turned ashen. By now, there's probably chaos at Michael's house. Both of your actions, and Yvonne's true nature, are now known to our parents. What do I do, Kelly? Yvonne, more flustered than ever, clung to me. What? I don't know. You did it willingly,
Clean up your own mess.
I sharply dismissed her and turned to Michael.
I can't live in a room where you two were intimate. I'll cancel the lease. And I'll be claiming compensation for breaking off the engagement. Pay the cancellation fee for the venue too.
After letting out all I wanted to say, I stopped the camera. Resisting the urge to throw the engagement and wedding rings in Michael's face, I neatly arranged them on the bedside table. Michael, covering his body with a pillow and wearing a sour expression, along with Yvonne, who was half crying, were left behind as Angie and I exited the room. But it wasn't over yet. After parting with Angie and returning to Michael's parents' house, another commotion awaited. Expecting his parents to be disappointed with Yvonne's true nature, I was surprised to find them quite lively. The first thing they said to me, looking completely exhausted, was,
"Kelly, you're calling off the engagement with Michael, right?"
"Of course."
"Oh, that's good."
"Good." I was stunned by their reaction. My parents then apologized to Michael's parents and said,
"Please take Yvonne as your daughter-in-law instead. That will settle everything nicely." "Wait, what? That's not possible. They're breaking up, right?"
My parents insisted, smiling at Michael's confused parents.
"Don't worry. Once they're married, they'll surely get along well. Kelly thinks so too, right? Breaking them up when they love each other would be too cruel. We want them to be happy."
Feeling a headache coming on, I pressed my hand against my forehead. "It's nonsense.
The wedding venue is already booked, so it's perfect. We'll just change the bride's name. We made a mistake with their name."
"No problem." I was utterly dismayed at my parents, who were chatting excitedly.
"You saw the live broadcast earlier, right? Didn't that bother you? Yvonne took my fiancé. You're to blame for not keeping Michael."
My mother nodded in agreement.
"It's your fault for not being born beautiful. It's like an old drama, your fiancé stole the night before your wedding."
My mother chuckled, and my father laughed too. Staring at my parents who were laughing at my misfortune, I realized that they would forgive Yvonne for anything. They had no love for me at all. Michael's mother's voice broke into my thoughts.
"Are you even a mother?"
As I looked up, Michael's parents were angrily confronting mine.
"We're truly sorry for our son's betrayal of Kelly. But, let me say one thing. It's wrong to take Yvonne's side. Comforting Kelly should be the natural response of parents. To laugh at Kelly and defend Yvonne, you don't deserve to call yourselves Kelly's parents. Shut up! Leave us alone!"
My mother snapped back.
"Your son must have seduced Yvonne. She wouldn't do such a thing, they insisted." "That's right. Even if he hadn't met Yvonne, he would have definitely cheated with some other woman."
Michael's parents were stunned.
"That's ridiculous. How can you defend your daughter's actions like that? You're utterly unreasonable. We didn't expect this from you. Please leave, you're unpleasant." "That's our line. Poor Yvonne, to be in mutual love but unable to marry. It can't be helped, Dad. It just wasn't meant to be with Michael. Yvonne's a good girl, after all. I'm sure she'll soon meet someone wonderful again."
My parents, somberly reflective, left hastily without cleaning up the mess they had made from eating, just gathering their belongings and exiting. Feeling awkward, I still managed to clear the table, taking the dishes my parents and I used to the sink and wiping down the table. As I gathered my things to leave, I noticed Michael's parents, who had come to the entrance to see me off, apologized deeply.
"We apologize on behalf of our son. We're sorry for the pain we caused you. You don't have to forgive us. We're truly sorry."
The tone was genuinely apologetic.
"Kelly, there's definitely someone more deserving of you than our son. I hope you find the right person and be happy."
"Yes.
Thank you,"
I replied, bowing slightly before leaving Michael's family home. I found an apartment closer to my workplace and moved there. I arranged for a courier service to transfer my belongings from the apartment I had been sharing to the new one. I waited for Michael to clear out his stuff before canceling the lease. Not planning to see him again, I had a lawyer demand alimony. Surprisingly, Michael, who I thought would comply easily, started to balk at the payment. Apparently, the cancellation fees for the wedding venue and honeymoon were higher than expected, depleting his savings. He seemed to be trying to get on my good side, hoping to reduce the alimony.
4 million yen in alimony is too much. In fact, we shouldn't even have to pay alimony, right? It was just a half-year affair. We didn't have a kid or anything. Just let it slide.
When I ignored the persistent messages, he started getting angry.
You earn a decent salary too, so why are you trying to squeeze money out of me? It's your greediness that makes you unattractive.
Fed up, I blocked Michael's contact and dropped his messages into his company's group chat. The messages spread from Michael's colleagues to employees in other departments. His once serious image crumbled, and his reputation plummeted. Michael, finding it uncomfortable to stay at the company, quit and moved to a smaller local business. The company he moved to was a low-paying company, and Michael, who had paid me the alimony by getting into debt, seemed unable to quit. Since he was disowned by his parents, he couldn't borrow money and had to work desperately every day to repay his debts. Yvonne was also furious when I demanded alimony for both affairs.
There's no way I have that kind of money. We're family, you should just let it go for free. Yeah, why should our sister have to pay you? You're only focused on money, that's why Michael left you.
My parents accused over the phone. Annoyed, I blocked all 3 of their numbers. Later, I heard from relatives that my parents and Yvonne, having bragged about this ordeal at a family gathering, faced tremendous backlash and became outcasts. Yvonne, forced to pay my alimony, increased her part-time work hours. But unfortunately, one of her new jobs was managed by our cousin. Labeled as the sister who stole her sibling's fiancé, she struggled to find another job and endured a tense work environment. As for me, though my dream of a happy family was shattered, I was able to resolve my longing to cut ties with my family. Despite all the unpleasant experiences I had as a child, deep down, I was still hoping for it. I had been hoping to hear my parents say, "Kelly is just as important as Yvonne," or "Kelly is our precious daughter," but after this incident, I've completely given up on that expectation. However, I felt a sense of clarity. My work improved, and I was recently promoted to branch manager. At a local matchmaking event I attended with Angie, I met a wonderful man. He also had issues with his parents, and we shared a desire to build a warm family. Whether I'll remarry remains to be seen, but for now, I'm considering dating him.